So I like doing these little videos where I'm thinking about things in the negative because it's so much easier if you could see the obvious bad thing to do. You can see how to like stand out above the crowd, and that's especially true with something like an internship. So let's go to the complete extreme, how to get fired as an intern. Number 1, being punctual and reliable is for suckers. Don't worry about it. Sessions start at certain times, that is true, and the engineer will be there at a very specific time, also true. The musicians get there because it's their time that they're paying for, also true, but you play by your own rules. No one's gonna tell you where to be or what time to be there. Frankly, this is your show. The last thing you wanna do is demonstrate commitment to the role and to everyone else there. Going the extra mile here is incredibly dangerous and is sure to get you called back to that internship or even possibly a job in the future. Oh God, we don't wanna do that. Don't worry about arriving on time, don't develop a consistent schedule, and don't be reliable. Number 2, respect. We don't even know what that means. Now, some people would tell you that this is not your space. This is not your studio. These are not your clients, and therefore you need to be respectful because after all, you're there to learn. Those people are lying to you. Let me tell you something. Respect for studio and the staff and the equipment and the band coming in, completely overrated and frankly outdated if you're trying not to get a good internship. The last thing you want to have in a professional situation is a matching professional attitude. Hear me out here. Treating everyone with kindness, politeness, respect, courtesy. No. These are ways that people are going to like you, and these are how you're going to make connections and network. There's that word. And that is a dangerous thing if you're not trying to move forward. Number 3, if you're trying to be a bad intern, never listen, never observe, never pay attention. The last thing you want in a studio situation is for somebody to look at you like you know what's going on. That might get you at the board. It might get you in charge of something, working the patch bay, maybe doing edits for the band. You don't want to pay attention to any of these details so that you can claim ignorance the whole time. Because remember, paying attention to the workflow of the producer you're under and the workflow of the studio that you're in is just gonna get you educated. And education leads to dangerous possibilities. If the band there sees you as a professional, no, it's all over for you. You'll get hired. We don't want that. Number 4, if you're trying to be a bad intern, never ask any questions. After all, the person who brought you into their 4 walls wants to educate you. Give them an opening to actually give you education and information that would help you in your career furthering. You don't want to even do that because no one wants to teach someone who is not interested at all in what they're doing or where they are. Besides all of that, getting clarification on certain things and asking questions on how things work means you could actually do something right. And the last thing you want to do is to know exactly how to work the patch bay to save someone else time. That'll definitely get you a callback, and you don't want to do that. Number 5, taking notes is for suckers. Everything you need to know is right up here. You're at this internship, but they're not gonna teach you anything. Let's be clear about that. You're definitely gonna be involved with a whole lot of information that you don't currently know, but it's not like you need it. It's not like you need to remember it. It's not like this is gonna help you at any point. After all, whoever you're working for and the fact that they've built up this thing into a functioning business and possibly a legacy, neither here nor there. You don't need the information that they have. You don't need to put it in a tangible form so that you could latch on to this stuff and remember it. It would absolutely be a terrible idea to have a notebook or an iPad where you're constantly taking notes and keeping all of these things highly organized so that you do a good job in the future. Now, a quick word for today's sponsor, you guys. Today's video does not have an actual sponsor, but if you guys do want to support the channel, I'll put a link down in the description below, a link to my store. If you're into impulse responses or drum samples, I sell those on the website. Go check it out. It's definitely the most direct way to support the channel, and I appreciate it very much. Back to the video. Number 6. Don't be proactive. If you're waiting to be told what to do, that's perfect. Never act before someone asks you to do something. After all, if you're anticipating the room, if you've paid attention up to this point, and you know how stuff's supposed to go, and you know the next move, and you could possibly make someone else's life easier, stay away from it. Because being proactive and offering to do helpful tasks around the building is only going to look good for you, and you don't want that. Being open to new challenges and opportunities to learn can be a dangerous water to tread cred, because that could get you in contact with important people in the industry eventually. Number 7, you should be as disorganized as possible. After all, a recording studio has a lot of things that are really, really small and really, really hard to keep track of, so you should never put that U87, U47, C12, never put those back where you found them. If you put things back in predictable and tidy areas, your engineer or producer is going to be content, proficient, efficient, and they might teach you something. You should be striving to give this person a heart attack at all times, and what better way to do that than to take their $4,000 microphone and put it somewhere they have no idea where it is. And you don't know either, because your work area is disgusting. It's covered in the trash of the fast food that you ate last week. No one wants to go through your workspace to figure out where things are, not even you. This is a perfect way to never get a job in the industry. This one's a big one. If you're working in and around a recording studio and bands of any caliber, you're going to be around some level of confidentiality. Disregard it. There is no better way to lose your job as an intern and possibly any position you may hold in the small world of the music industry than to leak sensitive information before it's that party's choice. After all, you're going to be around a whole lot of stuff that the general public just does not know. The recording techniques that band use, possibly samples or instruments that they're using they may not want people to know about. More than that, you probably have access to the actual files themselves, and sharing those would definitely get you fired. And certainly you'd never hold a position in the music industry anywhere, ever, again. Perfect. Number 9, if you want to be a terrible intern, don't be open-minded. Being open to different genres and musical techniques is just gonna teach you something. The last thing you need is an education, because again, it's gonna get you a job. You want to be as close-minded as possible, have an elitist view of your musical taste, because that's, after all, the only music that matters. And showing any amount of respect to whatever client happens to be in the building that the producer you're working under is working with is just gonna create a good environment. And that's the last thing we want to do. The last and possibly biggest way to be a bad intern: never show initiative. The biggest thing you want to stay away from here is adding any kind of value to the person that you're working for. Because surely their life as a business owner is stressful, and any amount of work you can take off that is going to make them immensely a happier, more efficient, more effective business person in general. And you don't want to do that. What you're trying to do is not be a value add, but a burden. And frankly, they're used to it. Small business owners are typically pretty stressed out, so this is something that they're used to. You're just giving them what they're already comfortable with. As soon as you tell them that you can tune vocals or edit drums, you're gonna get stuff put on your plate that's gonna make their life easier, and then possibly could turn into like actually paying jobs. No man, that is not the world you wanna be a part of, trust me. Anyway guys, obviously all of these are meant to be viewed as parody. I hope by showing a very extreme side to this, you can easily see how to like rise above most of the people and be very, very memorable in some of these situations. Especially in an internship in like a recording studio under a producer, the biggest and best thing you can do is be value added in any way. And even the smallest things that you can do to take something off of somebody else's plate that's helpful is enormous, and you're bound to go pretty far with even just that. So with that, I'm Resident Loser Jeremy. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit subscribe down below. I will see you in the next one.